he doesn't have a connection with somebody, and he also feels like he's a mistake.
Yeah.
He says in the movie, I don't want to jump ahead or anything, but it's a very important part of his character development, along with kind of Rocky understanding where he's coming from. Like Rocky at one point saying, "You don't have anything else to prove. You made it this far. I'm gonna throw in the towel. You're done. I should have done it with your dad, but I'm gonna do it with you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake." And he's like, "No, I want to prove that I wasn't a mistake. My dad may have been unfaithful to his wife and had me by accident, but I wasn't. I'm not a mistake by being here by existing. I have a purpose. And I thought that was a really cool, character arc for him. Kind of, needing to prove to himself that he's not worthless."
That's true. Cool. Yeah, and I just thought it was amazing that he went, he's like, my father's gone. Yeah, he had that resentment, but he easily cleared it up by, well, I'm going to go for the next the next best thing, you know what I mean? And he goes to Philly. Was it Philly?
Philly.
Philly, and guess who he finds, dude? And I thought, I was like, no way, dude. Like, how they brought Rocky into it was... This kid, he basically, not that he used them, but they did become dope homies. And he, I thought that was really dope.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to have, when I first saw this, they were going to have, a hate relationship. But, nah, dude, because Rocky's too old, man. Look at him. His fucking knuckles are swollen and shit, lost his wife. He's humbled out, dude. And he's not as crazy as he used to be. But he was a crazy street fighter, basically.
This was it. Yeah, 2015, and Rocky looks so much older than Rambo does in the latest Rambo movie, which is insane to me. And that's he did a good job at playing a really old, beaten down, broken boxer, basically. A guy who's been boxing his whole entire life, and now his body feels the pain from his past. And I really did enjoy the character relationship between them. Their chemistry was really on point, and you get to see that growth between them. And like I said, Rocky's understanding of I was going to say Apollo, but Adonis's mindset and where he comes from, kind of this chip on his shoulder that he has. I don't need the name of my dad to be somebody, basically, to make a name for himself.
Yeah, and Rocky's pep talks are too dope, dude. He was just like, you don't have to be your dad. You can do much more, dude. And I was like, what? That's exactly what you need to hear. Rocky is just too good at this, dude. He's done it all, dude, in the boxing world. That's what he gets, you know what I mean? He's had all the trials and tribulations, people wanting to come after him at his title. I thought it was pretty dope that once people knew that was Creed's heir, they immediately said, we need to fight him with that name, because wasn't he not using that name?
He was using Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. I was like, what? And now they're going to bring it out of him to just use that name against him, and really top dog fighters. I was like, wow, that's kind of like how these guys are these days. They kind of want to get you when you're low, you know what I mean? They'd rather do it now than later. And I did, but the guy that was not to jump ahead, but that guy played a good asshole, and he kind of reminded me of McGregor and shit like that.
Pretty Ricky Conlon?
A little, just a cocky fucker and gonna ruin your day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was also, if you pay attention to some of the small talk, they actually say that Conlon has fought everybody in his division, and there's nowhere left for him to go. And he's basically almost being pushed out. And that's why they were so insistent on trying to kind of, create this fight, this kind of epic fight between Apollo Creed's kid and Pretty Ricky Conlon or whatever. So it's almost like Conlon's career is really riding on, him defending his title against this. And I feel like they do a really good build up of that, you know, from Adonis going from doing, you know, secret brawls in TJ, where he was 15-0, and then you know, quitting his job, quitting his career. He had what looks like a good, you know, desk job, and then telling his not his mom, but his stepmom, which is Creed's wife, Marianne Creed, I believe is her name. He basically tells her like, yo, like I'm going to be fighting full time and I'm moving out, you know. And so he throws everything away because Marianne has a huge mansion, you know. Obviously he had a fucking really nice Mustang. It looks like a 67 Mustang, which he later loses because of his cockiness, but he moves with pretty much nothing to make it on his own, and that's where he kind of meets Rocky, and Rocky's like, who the fuck are you, you know, like, what are you doing here, pretty much shrugging him off, and they have this great little back and forth in Rocky's restaurant, I believe, and he's like, wait a minute, like, you know, I know who you are, you look familiar or whatever. And, you know, obviously Rocky
Adonis also has all those weird secret information that only someone really close to Apollo would know. Because he's bringing up, he's like, this fight's from the 10th round, you know, a minute in 10th round, and he's like, oh yeah, that's a good it's a good guess. And then he talks about, I heard there's a third fight between you guys, you know, who won? He's like, who told you that? Like, you know, that's kind of a secret, you know, between family. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought that was a really cool thing of how he was kind of like flexing on him a little bit, being like, you know, I know all these things about you, but you don't know who I am. Like,
yeah. No, you're diving more into the scene. Yeah, it's a good touch. Like, imagine this guy, you're like, you don't even know who he is, and he's fucking tossing your onions to your workers and shit. He fucking, you know, like, and then of course, like the breakthrough is, how do you know the Creed fight? How do you know that happened? And only the heir would know. And like you just said, it's just an amazing touch. Like, and immediately, Brocky's not dumb, dude. As much brain damage as he has, he's one of the smartest people I've seen in a boxing movie. Like, so it's like, and he has good heart. So of course he kind of felt that too, that this was somebody different, you know?
Definitely.
Or not different, but somebody he knew that was like the soul, like, of Creed was in this kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, felt that.
And because Balboa, you know, largely blames himself, I think, for his father's death. He kind of takes him under his wing, and they become, in essence, family. You know, where Adonis starts calling him Unc, short for uncle. You know, and then we finally meet his love interest, who is Tessa Thompson, or Bianca, who has a great subplot for her own, you know, struggles, where she's a musician who has progressive hearing loss, you know what I mean? And I feel like the dynamic between her and Creed and that struggle, they play off each other so well, and like I said in the beginning, it's very engaging, and it's fun to see them kind of going through life and you know, creating a great support system for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody in this movie is fighting something. Like, if it's not like hand-to-hand combat, it's with problems and tribulations that humans go through every day. If not, it hits you when you're getting older. It hits you when you least expect it, you know?
Yep.
So I thought that was good, dude, especially since if we go even further in the movie, and that's kind of going later, well, we know what happens to Rocky, and that kind of, I was like, damn, that sucks, dude. And that's why Adonis, it kind of breaks him, because he's like, dude, who else am I going to have, like, if you don't fight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rocky is pretty much, he you know, he finds out he has cancer, a form of cancer, and and he's kind of just like, he's just taking it. He's like, okay, I have cancer. I'm going to die soon then. And, whatever. My wife went through chemo, and I don't want to go through chemo. I saw what it does to somebody, and I don't want to go through that. And Creed is he's kind of thrown, upside, his world's kind of thrown upside down, because he's like, okay, like, how are we going to fight this? What we got to, I'll take you to the hospital right now. We'll start getting treatment right now. And he's like, no, he's like, I'm done. Like, I have nothing really. Everything that I know is behind me.
Yeah, he looks at the list of fighters, and he says, "This is the past. This is done." Yeah,
he's like, that's where I belong. I'm going to be on that wall. I'm just be a name to somebody someday. And it sucks, because you see how alone Rocky is in this movie. His best friend Paulie is dead. Mickey died earlier. In the franchise. His wife is now gone, and he's kind of he's been on his own for a while. And he's kind of once he gets that scene where he tells Adonis, if I could take all the good things that I've ever done or ever happened to me in my life and put them in a bag and give them away just for one more day with my wife, I would take that deal. And it just shows you, like, he's kind of, he's over it. And that does happen to a lot of people who, they lose a loved one, especially at an older age, where they don't feel like they don't really have a purpose anymore, because their purpose was to be with their significant other. And I feel like that's how he is. He doesn't really, he doesn't care. Like Adonis says, he's too macho or to fight for, to get help. So he doesn't really care anymore. And I thought that was a cool thing. Like you said, a cool battle that Rocky has to go through, even though he's not boxing anymore or fighting. Everyone like you said, Tiny, everyone in this movie has a battle of their own. And even with Tessa Thompson's character, how she's going deaf, she even mentions, like to Adonis that, I don't think she was kind of hesitant to be in a relationship, because, eventually she's going to be deaf, and she feels like she'll probably be a burden to somebody in a relationship.
Yeah. And especially, Adonis came at the right time for her. She looked like she needed somebody. I mean, there's only so much that being an art, like a musician that's up there doing performances, could handle. That life is different, and there's no real, like, friends sometimes in that business. So, and then she found an actual fighter, and that's like a beautiful combination, a fighter with a musician. You could, like, she was kind of like calming him down a little bit, even though he did get angsty sometimes with her still. Like, I think he, like, fucked up her, like, club moment or something, or something like that. Yeah, he, like, knocked somebody out.
Supposed to be her big break.
Yeah, her big break.
One of her big breaks. It was a big show that she was going to land, or that she landed, and I think the headliner was kind of, he called Adonis Baby Creed.
Yeah.
What's up, Baby Creed?
Like, don't call me that. He's like, all right, see you later, Baby Creed. And he's like, don't call me that. He's like, what? He's like, homie, I'll give you a VIP. I think he said, I'll give you a VIP pass to meet your father if you keep talking to me like that. And that's when he came out. Which, I mean, I would do the same thing, but that's, you see again that chip on his shoulder, how he, like, don't compare me to my dad, or, like, just. I thought that was a really cool scene for him to, like, especially you see how the news of Rocky getting the cancer and not wanting to fight and basically give up. You see how that's affecting him, because he's kind of
his inner Killmonger came out.
He's real just quick. Pissed off, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that. It's movies about Creed, but now we see Creed in fucking Mandalorian. Not to break off, but yeah, this movie's good, man. Like, if there's any haters, maybe it's nostalgia, but I doubt there's a very marginal room for that. I guess if there was a hater, So, but not much you can hate on. This movie does almost everything you kind of want to see in a boxing movie. Like, the trials and tribulations, the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's all there. Well placed.